Coming up on Jamaica Magazine today, ensuring the safety of travelers with the implementation of COVID-19 protocols at airports, plus easing water woes in rural communities, and defining who is a spouse to determine his or her entitlement if a partner dies. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Adrian Atkinson. It all unfolds right after this important message.
Jamaica, I can help you protect our citizens.
Jamaica Eye will play a part in increasing your public safety.
Jamaica Eye is part of an island-wide network of camera surveillance systems designed to increase the safety of you, our citizens. If you have a camera system outside your home or office facing a public space, log on to jamaicaeye.gov.jm today. Jamaica Eye, we're all connected. The Ministry of National Security, creating a safer and prosperous Jamaica.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, October 8. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is expanding local testing for COVID-19 to include the use of antigen tests. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says this move follows approval from the World Health Organization Pan-American Health Organization. In a statement to Parliament on Tuesday, the Prime Minister said this was among measures to increase the availability of COVID testing in the country, which is an important tool in the fight to control its spread among the population.
While the PCR test remains the gold standard, the antigen tests achieve a high degree of reliability at a fraction of the cost, with results being available within 30 minutes. Antigen testing will be for persons who are symptomatic and will be done at suitable sites and approved laboratories.
He again indicated that the Health Ministry would be assessing and approving private laboratories to conduct COVID-19 testing. In doing so, the Prime Minister said it was extremely important that the Ministry had full visibility of all the test results. As a result, all private labs conducting testing will be mandated to report the results to the National Public Health Laboratory. In the meantime, the Prime Minister says there is to be greater enforcement of protocols under the Disaster Risk Management Act. He told Parliament that the language of the new enforcement measures order under the Act have been clarified to address concerns about prosecution of those who fail to comply with the protocols.
The language has been adjusted to make it abundantly clear that directions are given under the order, and these directions are enforceable under Section 52 of the Disaster Risk Management Act.
In tandem with that, he says Cabinet should soon be able to tell the nation how a ticketing regime will work for offences under any order made under Section 26 of the Act. That work is being done by the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development with support from the Ministries of Justice and National Security. Prime Minister Holness says these interventions will be paired with greater public education on the COVID-19 protocols and how they work to protect persons. The ultimate goal, he says, is to encourage personal responsibility and engender behavior change. 6 primary schools in St. James will be in a better position to take protective measures against COVID-19 when in-class learning resumes after a recent donation of personal protective equipment, PPEs. On Monday, U.S.-based non-profit organization Children of the Caribbean Foundation presented the schools with face masks and shields, hand sanitizer dispensers, and infrared thermometers. Principal of Farm Primary and Infant School, Richard Miller, says this will help the institution's efforts to keep children and the rest of Jamaica safe from the disease.
We are indeed happy that we have partnered with the Children of the Caribbean Foundation. And indeed, they have given us the items that we really need to ensure that we are ready when the government or the Minister of Education should give the go-ahead to have our students engaged face-to-face.
Meanwhile, Executive Director of the Foundation, Rosie Hodge Adams, says she admires the government's efforts to help keep Jamaicans safe from COVID-19 and wants to build on that.
It is definitely a measure that our parents, when sending our children to school, should feel some peace of mind. Well, they'll get their temperatures checked. They didn't have a fever when they went to school. The schools are doing what they need to do. to make sure that the families are comfortable in sending their children to school and to ensure that the environment is safe and sanitized for our students.
Meanwhile, students at the Tacky High and Mile Gully High Schools will enjoy improved transportation when face-to-face learning resumes. This after the Transport Ministry donated 2 buses to the schools valued at $19 million. The donation is part of the ministry's corporate social responsibility program. Transport Minister Robert Montague says the initiative seeks to address the challenges faced by students in rural school districts.
The government is doing that to demonstrate to the rest of the country that when it comes to education, there is no politics. There is no color. Because the education of our children is a national priority that cuts across the political spectrum.
Principal of Tacky High, Errol Basco, says his school will immediately begin using the bus to distribute learning material to students who do not have internet access. Principal of Mile Gully High, Christopher Time, says his institution will also use the bus to deliver educational material to students, adding that when schools reopen physically, their students will be able to benefit from safe transportation. More Jamaicans will now have access to road safety training via online videos. The Road Safety Unit in the Ministry of Transport is now using its YouTube channel to broadcast over 22 training videos promoting proper use of the roadways and vehicle safety. Director of the unit, Knut Hare, says the videos highlight human and vehicular factors that can result in traffic collisions, as well as information about the transportation of goods and tire safety and care. Mr. Hare says he is confident that once the safety videos are watched, the behavior of undisciplined drivers will be different. And finally, Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries Floyd Green has announced that several mango orchards will be established across the island, commencing in Clarendon next year. He says the project will start next year by putting 60 acres of mango trees into production, eventually building out to 1,000 acres. He says the project will be done in partnership with private investors to take advantage of the huge market for Jamaican mangoes in the United States. Minister Green was speaking at the recent distribution of 247 fruit trees to farmers at Commodore New Testament Church of God in St. Catherine. They are being distributed under the ministry's National Fruit Trees program. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
The JIS Heritage Competition is celebrating 10 years of youth expression on Jamaican history, culture, and tradition. If you're a primary level student, 9 to 12 years old, enter the essay competition. Write 400 to 500 words on the topic. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace. Identify a Jamaican from our past or an institution that exemplifies this statement from our national pledge and say why. Secondary level students, enter the poster competition. And tertiary students, send us your best snap for the photo competition. The topic, I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace. Enter now and play your part in preserving our national heritage. Great prizes to be won. Competition closes October 24. For competition rules and guidelines, contact the JIS.
Up next, a look at the COVID-19 protocols now in place at the Norman Manley International Airport to keep travelers safe.
The Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston is an entryway into Jamaica. Since the global outbreak of COVID-19, several health security measures have been implemented to protect visitors and Jamaicans against the spread of the virus. Here are the safety guidelines to expect as you come through the airport.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. In light of the current coronavirus pandemic, PAC Kingston Airport Limited wishes to advise of the following COVID-19 protocols. Only passengers and staff are allowed inside the ticketing concourse. All farewell activities must be done at the departure curbside. Maintain physical distance of 6 feet. Wash hands for 20 seconds. Avoid touching your face and wear a mask at all times.
We need to have in mind that we are in a new normal, and this is a new layer. All the tests, the interviews done by the Minister of Health are a new layer, a new activity, so you need to be patient. Everybody that is involved in the service chain, we are trying to do our best to make you feel comfortable, make you feel welcome. Everybody coming to the airport, they need to wear a mask. That's mandatory. We are asking you to keep your relatives outside of the building.
Just prior to disembarking the plane, or as you do, you will be greeted by health officials explaining the procedures to be followed as you go through the airport. First, you must sanitize and adhere to physical distancing protocols. You will have to repeat these measures as you move through the airport.
We put more than 1,000 decals advising our visitors about social distancing. We put those in the check-in counters, in the screening checkpoints, in the baggage claim at Customs Hall, in the immigration hall, in very different places so everybody can identify where to stand while they are waiting for a service.
Government has revised the health screening process for airports. As such, not all incoming passengers will be tested at the airport. Based on observation and the health screening process, the medical officials will determine if you are high risk and must do a COVID-19 test on spot or at a later date.
We are moving away from testing persons at the airport when they come in. Right now, we continue to sample some of the flights in order for us to get an idea if there are positive cases that continue to come into the island.
Technology plays a big role to gain access to Jamaica. While at the airport, visitors are required to download the Jam COVID-19 app onto their device. During this process, you will have to confirm the information provided on the travel authorization form you filled out prior to traveling.
Right now, we're using the app for the geofencing, where they get the calls to ensure that they're in the right location. But right now, you will get calls from the health department to check on your temperature and if you're having any symptoms, and persons from the health department will visit. But as we go into hundreds and hundreds of persons that are coming into the parish, it's not going to be so easy. But there will be a new way to do this, in that you will be required to put in your temperature and your symptoms on the app, and the health department will be able to monitor you from this.
After completing the health and app processes, you will be allowed to move on to immigration. You will be denied access to immigration if clearance was not granted by the previous steps. You may be issued a ticket or escorted to immigration to prove that you were indeed processed at steps 1 to 3. Also, don't forget to sanitize as you move from one area to the next. Health officials may instruct you to do so if you don't, but for your own safety, just do it. Baggage claim is not the regular affair of grabbing your bag and go. Within this area, strict protocols must be followed. Therefore, only a few persons at a time are allowed inside the turnstile area. Depending on the number of persons inside the room, you may have to wait until others have claimed their luggage and exited. Or you may be asked to take a seat inside the area and wait for others before you go. Also at baggage claim, the health officials often conduct a pep talk with passengers on Jamaica's regulations pertaining to quarantine, social distancing, and the wearing of masks. Be sure to listen. Inside the customs hall at NMIA, you must wait until it's your turn, and you are thus instructed to be assessed by a customs officer. You must stay behind the designated line at all times while being processed. Security personnel are on hand to ensure you follow these guidelines, or else.
In Jamaica, we welcome all visitors, businessmen, Jamaicans coming to see their relatives, to see their friends. Everybody's welcome. But we need to be totally sure that you are safe and the people of Jamaica are safe. So yes, we are not doing that to make you feel uncomfortable. We are doing that, as a parent of the government, to have everybody safe. That's the main objective of that.
Welcome home. Drive safe to your destination and remember to adhere to the country's COVID-19 protocols.
We thank you for choosing the services of the Norman Manley International Airport.
I love waking up every day in this country. This is where I was born and raised. I have such a passion for my country, and for me, this is home. In Jamaica, a lot of people, they look at just like beach, sea, sand, but our mountains are something to behold. It's majestic up there, and it's a different type of peace. It's a different type of lifestyle completely. I could mention many different places that are amazing, but the one thing I do love about Jamaica as well is that you can find that relaxation, you can find that chill in your backyard. Apart from it being an incredibly beautiful country, an incredibly beautiful island, we have a wonderful, wonderful culture, wonderful, vibrant, colorful people. There is definitely a realness to Jamaica. There's definitely something that no matter what keeps you in touch with reality here. Why come to Jamaica? It all comes back down to Jamaica as a whole. The food, the music, the culture, the people, the climate. Come out and meet us, come out and experience what Jamaica has to offer.
We now move to the issue of water, more so connecting communities in sections of St. James, Hanover, and Clarendon. This is being done by Rural Water Supply Limited, an agency of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation.
For you every day, you have to contemplate how you're going to live your life without water. And for many of you, it would have been a struggle.
That's the challenge for many Jamaicans, not being able to access potable water in the comfort of their homes. While some persons have intermittent shortages, for others it has been a long-standing issue.
Who don't have to buy water, have to catch water, store water, walk with water. While other people have convenience. Turn on the pipe and have water in them house. Why you can't have that?
The government has been putting a serious dent into this burning issue by making water available to communities across the island. This is being done through the combined efforts of the National Water Commission (NWC) and the Rural Water Supply Limited (RSWL).
In modern Jamaica, we should reach the point where everybody has potable water, meaning water that you can drink, water that you can use to do your domestic chores with, in your home. And that is our goal.
This government hears the cry of the people for water. Water is necessary for your fields, but it is necessary also for your homes. It is an important convenience of life. But more than that, as Dave said, it is your right to have water.
$528 million has been set aside in this year's budget to construct and maintain water supply systems across rural Jamaica. Implementing agency Rural Water Supply Limited has several projects planned for the financial year. Among them are the rehabilitation of catchment tanks island-wide, installation of water-efficient fixtures and rainwater harvesting systems in schools, and the upgrading of rural water supply systems in select parishes. They include Islington St. Mary, Watermount St. Catherine, New Eden in Portland, Maroon Town and Tangle River in St. James, as well as Bath and Hayward in St. Thomas. Already, the RSWL has delivered the Flower Hill water supply system. 30 years in the making, the $110 million project will supply water to Flower Hill and adjoining communities. The infrastructure, which was constructed in partnership with the National Water Commission, consists of 2 relifting stations, storage tanks and gravity lines, which will be fed from the Greater Montego Bay water system.
I was born in Flower Hill, and from I was born, I come and see my mother, my father, my other older siblings, them carrying water on their head. And that was so painful because we have to carry it from some river.
I'm very, very, very happy because you see this water problem, it has been plaguing this community for years and years and years gone by. And for us to see water turn on today, for us to get it in the house, that's a big boost.
Over in Hanover, the National Water Commission and the Rural Water Supply Limited came together again to provide the liquid to the people of Jericho and adjoining communities. The Claremont to Jericho water supply system was installed at a cost of $400 million. The project ends the community's 48-year drought.
Every single Jamaican can be assured that the government is making the investment in water according to strategic priorities. We want to know where we're going to get the greatest economic return. We're going to want to look at, for example, where we can ensure that when we make the investment, we can get the repayment. But we also have a duty to make the investment where people have been without water for many years.
I'm very, very proud to know that over the years, about 40 to 48 years, we haven't got any water in this community. And I'm very glad to know that today, on the 8th of August 2020, we are getting our water supply.
Buying water for $5,000, $7,000 per drum is very, very expensive. So for me, it's really a blessing. And the community is very, very, very proud knowing that it has reached to this far.
A similar NWC project in north central Clarendon has resulted in Moko and surrounding communities getting the commodity. The Moko Relief Station will serve the Red Bank, Cedars and Pusey communities, as well as Lennon High and a neighboring basic school.
It is not rare for the NWC to be operating in rural areas. But more and more, this administration is pushing the NWC to expand what is called the utility area, meaning the area in which they supply water for persons to be metered. For all the other communities in Jamaica who are waiting just as long and even longer for water, have faith, have hope.
Even as the government increases citizens' access to water, we can all ensure that all Jamaicans get the commodity. How? By practicing water conservation measures and paying your water bills. The more regularly you pay, the more funds will be available to lay new pipes, repair broken ones, and implement more water projects.
If you don't pay, the NWC can't pay. If the NWC can't pay, then they have debt. And if they have debt, it becomes the government's debt. The government can't print money. So the only way that the government is going to repay the debt is more taxes. So either way, so it is better that you pay the rates which are set reasonably and you manage your consumption of the water, because when you didn't have the water, it costs much more to pay for a truckload of water than it would cost you to use the water in the pipes.
What if two unmarried people are in a relationship for years and one partner dies without leaving a will? Is the other entitled to anything? Well, first, it would have to be determined if the person meets the requirement of a spouse by the Administrator General's Department.
Anna, why you knocking down my door? What is it?
Jackie, I don't know what to do. From Jason dead, I have nothing to give to the children, and I don't know where to turn.
So why you didn't go down to the Administrator General's department, the place I told you about the other day?
Lord Jackie, I know you try to help me, you know, but remember say me and Jason never did marry, you know.
What do you mean by that, Anna? The law say if a single man and a single woman live together as husband and wife for 5 years and more immediately before death, then he or she is considered a spouse.
Really? That mean me can't get something then? Cause boy, it rough, you know.
Yes, man, just go down there, tell them about the case, that Jason died, leaving no will, house and children under 18 years. Go down there and see what them can do for you.
A true you're talking, Jackie. Where you say the place there again?
Down a waterfront, man. 12 Ocean Boulevard. Go down there, talk to them and see if them can help you.
Okay, I'm going down there right now.
Good morning, madam. How are you?
Good morning, miss. I hear that the Administrator General's department can help me. You see, my children, them father died, leaving me with the 2 pitney them, and I'm me alone I care for them.
Did he leave a will?
Will, ma'am. After Jason never ready for dead, how come him come from work and drop down dead? My friend tell me say under the law, I'm considered a spouse. By the way, who is a spouse?
Under the Interstates, Estates and Property Charges Act, a spouse is a single man and woman living together as husband and wife for 5 years or more. By living together, the two persons should not have been separated at any time during the 5 years immediately before death. A surviving spouse includes a person who is legally married. That is, he or she went in front of a pastor and took the vow of marriage. If Anna meets the requirements, she can hire an attorney at law or go to the legal aid clinic to apply for an order from the court declaring that she's a spouse. Some of the questions the court will look at are: did Anna and Jason break up during the 5 years? Did Jason have any children born in the same year as Anna's children? The court will also want to know if Anna or Jason were married before and not divorced. Once the order has been granted, the spouse would be entitled to benefit from the estate of the deceased. For further information, you can visit the Administrator General's Department in Kingston, 3rd floor at the Office Center Building, 12 Ocean Boulevard, or call us at 922-183023. You can also visit our Western office at the 2nd floor of the National Housing Trust Building at 42B Union Street, Montego Bay, St. James. Telephone 630-4261. Our website is at www.agd.gov.jm. That's the Administrator General's Department, securing your legacy.
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll bring you another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.